This is colleague.
Yeah.
From alcoholic. You cannot see me because of light. So we're not the only one having a plan to hike.
Yeah.
There are a million people going onto the mountain. I decided, since I live here in Indonesia with so many volcanoes, to read the book about Krakatoa. And it's a thick one. Look at that. It's a bloody 400 plus pages. Too many, I think. 1883, August 28, if I remember well, 27, something like that. The explosion of the Krakatoa happens. Cut! Did you ever hear about Krakatoa? Of all those 400 pages, the first 150 pages are mainly about geology, scientists, history, to explain what a volcano is, tectonic plates. You know tectonic plates? Like in California, like in Philippines, Indonesia, Iceland, wherever. Interesting? No, pretty boring stuff actually, to be honest, but anyhow, that you have to go through in the first 150 pages before we come into Batavia of 1883. Then we start into a history lesson for quite a while, explaining what the Dutch were doing there, and we see the life in Batavia. We see the carriages riding, modern times are approaching. Too long, a little bit to my taste. Trembling and rumbling of the earth is happening in Batavia, and in Anjer, which is right opposite of the volcano island, between Java and Sumatra. What's it? Somewhere there. Australia, Indonesia, Java, Sumatra, and in between that strait, it's not even 50 years before or after the time that the tombola, I think it's called, tombola, no, that is something with winning prize, a bingo. But tombola, I'll check out the right name, 10 times bigger than Krakatoa. Krakatoa was covering the news worldwide. Because what happened the 27th of August 1883, there is a connection between the animals who start to freak out, birds, beasts, mammals. They act strange, as if they know that something is about to happen. All being waked up, running all upstairs, open the door, and they find a freaking out little elephant in that room, and no owner. The owner is a lady who is drinking somewhere else in the town, having fun. So there's a circus in town, and all the people working in the circus stay in that hotel, and the manager of the hotel completely freaks out and demands that the next day everyone is going and find another place and take their animals and everything out of this very expensive hotel. All the people in Batavia with their big parties and their stylish masked balls which were happening in the theaters, those were of course rich people, whatever there. Now what's happening in the Krakatoa? First explosion happens, it's like an earthquake in Batavia. In the meantime, there is a ash cloud going on at about 40,000 feet. That is higher than today's planes are flying. And it's going like a big mushroom, so it's going up and it spreads out, and darkness falls over the cities and the towns which are on both sides of Sumatra and Java. A second explosion, a third explosion several hours later, and everyone thinks, oh, what is going to happen? Is this it? Is this the worst thing? Is this the worst earthquake? And then at 2 minutes past 10, I mentioned it before, this enormous explosion, which is heard thousands and thousands of miles away in Singapore, in Hong Kong, in Manila, but even at the other side of the ocean in Africa. Actually, in that moment, the whole island, which is 5 by 4 kilometers long, is disappearing. It's completely lifted into ashes, and whole of Batavia, and that is where most of the eyewitnesses are coming from, is black. So black during day that they don't see the sun coming up already in the morning, but in the next days it's completely black, and they can literally not see one hand before their eyes. The island in the sea explodes, completely disappears, is causing an enormous tsunami, and this tsunami wipes out a lot of villages, cities, along the coasts of both of the islands, and they don't know how many people disappeared, but for sure it is thousands and thousands of people which they never ever hear again from. They find back a ship in Sumatra 2 miles or 2 kilometers inside of Sumatra, big ship. Now that is the story which was most interesting. Years after this explosion, there is pumice stone, which is actually a kind of light stone which floats on the sea. I can imagine if a whole mountain, a whole island is vaporizing and like in dust, and it comes down on the sea. It was really like maybe 1-2 meters high, and together with the water that actually formed kind of light stone, which was still floating around for many years to come, with complete hundreds of bodies into it, which are washing ashore in Zanzibar, in Africa. And in them the people see just the skeletons and the bodies clanged together. There was also a blue moon. The moon turned blue, not yellow as we know it, but blue, and I'm not sure if the phrase blue moon is coming from that. What's the conclusion of the book? It was very interesting. I think it could be half of this, and then had be much more impressed me than this, a lot of these technicalities. 3 stars means it is what I kind of expected from it, so it's okay. A 4 is more than expected, a 2 less than expected, a 1 I do not even read it and I throw it out of the window, and a 5 is a masterpiece which affects my life. I read about it, I've seen it, active volcano, blah 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 blah, explodes. I want to see it for real. Not the explosion, but I booked myself in for a next week visit in East Java, the Kawah Ijen, an active volcano where a little bit of clouds are coming out, and they are sulfur clouds. So I need to bring and buy a gas mask. That sounds pretty harmful and dangerous as well. So I'm looking forward to it. Next week I'm in a Vulcano hike. I hope I survive it. I hope it will not explode like this one, but at least I can see something like a real volcano. So here we are at Kawah, I think it is called. My first vlog. Let's see how to get there. We're now 1 hour walking, following a river upwards, as you can see. And it's exciting, but pretty challenging. Challenging because of balance. You can slip and fall everywhere. No fun. Jeez. This is climbing, man. Oh. Lucky I got that one. Huh? Good morning. It's not even before 1 o'clock in the morning, and we're going to Kawah Ijen, the volcano mountain right here on the back. We saw fires last night on the hill, and there should be sulfur fires as well, the blue fire that we want to see. That will be at 5 o'clock in the morning when we arrive there. Now everyone is collecting over there, so let's see how it's going to look like. I am sleepy but ready.
Alcoholic. Easy alcoholic. Mad beer.
Mad drink beer. So we're not the only one having a plan to hike. There are 1 million people going up the mountain.
Cause